So have you ever woken up on any given day and you feel like, man, I think I should be further along in my music or artistic career? Feels like I've been grinding for days, weeks, months, years, maybe even decades, and I'm not getting the recognition I deserve. I'm not getting the success I deserve. I feel like the world is practically working against me. I feel like I've done everything right. I feel like I've followed all the steps. I've put all of myself into this, and yet it seems as though I am getting nowhere in my music or my artistic career. Anyone feel like that? I have felt like that. I've had those moments. Some days I do wake up and go, why is it that I still don't have a team? Why is it that I don't have the revenue to sustain a team? Why does it seem like I'm getting ignored or shadow banned? Why aren't my books selling more? Why aren't things going the way I think they should be going? And I'm reminded of one really critical, one key thing that we'd all do well to remember. We need to focus on the impact, the value, the difference that we make for people and our audience. We focus too much on ourselves and what we want and who we are, instead of focusing on serving others and helping them achieve their goals and helping achieve their desires and helping them get what they want. Because the greatest rewards, the greatest customers, the most income inevitably comes from you helping more people. So showing up even when you don't feel like showing up when you don't even do it perfectly. And I don't even feel like I'm delivering this message perfectly right now. We need stamina. Just because you've marketed for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, doesn't mean you should give up. Just because you're seeing no results. You know the craziest thing? When you set up a campaign, whether it's a month-long campaign or a 3-month campaign or whatever it might be, for whatever reason, it's like the 80-20 rule. Most of the results tend to show up in the last 20% of the campaign. What happens though is people get 20 days in, or they get 50 days in, or they get 80 days in. There's 10 more days to go, or 20 more days to go. And they give up right before the results were about to show up. They give up at exactly the wrong time. This is why we need marketing stamina. We must be willing to persevere, to continue. We need to go back to our why. We need to go back to our foundation, which is adding value to people. It would be an injustice for people not to hear your music. It would be an injustice for me to not talk about my books because I've poured myself into my books to share with the world, to impact people, to make a difference, make a lasting impact on people's lives. That is the true injustice. That is why we need to show up, and we need to keep showing up. And when a video bombs, who cares? It wasn't that good. Make another video. That is why we need marketing stamina. We have to keep running even when we don't feel like running. And we have to treat it as a marathon. If we treat it like a sprint, we are going to run out of energy. Some of the things that I've been learning about marketing campaigns, a really key thing that I discovered, and pretty much here it is on a bumper sticker. You must build excitement for your launch. It sounds obvious, but every day people release things. They release books, they release music, they release collections of poetry, and they expect it to blow up overnight, to get 100 purchases or 1,000 purchases or 10,000 purchases. And it rarely, if ever, works like that. Your audience is watching you. They're paying attention. They are waiting for you to show up where they are with new content, with updates. And most people, most artists do not build up to their launch. They do not build up to their release. They do nothing to build an excitement. We need to take an example from Hollywood. What do? They start teasing the release of their latest movie a year out. And we as an audience are sitting here going, you want me to wait a full year to see your damn movie? I want to see it tomorrow. No, you can't buy it yet. You can't go to see it because it's not out. In most cases, the product is done, by the way. If they're ready to market it, it's either done or it's almost done. There's not a lot left to do. They've left themselves enough leeway just in case, but chances are the movie's done and it's ready to go. But they tease it a year in advance, and then a new trailer comes out, and then another new trailer comes out, and then another new trailer comes out, and in the meantime, the celebrities are giving interviews, but they can't give away too much about the movie yet, right? So at this point, you're just building excitement. It's all about the teaser campaign. This thing's coming. It's exciting. We can't tell you too much about it yet, but it's going to be really cool, and here's a trailer. And they go into talk shows, and what do they talk about? They don't talk about the movie so much. They might introduce the clip, but they go into talk shows to talk about themselves. Here's what's been happening in my personal life. I'm really excited about this, I'm really excited about that. And then that is building up to, hey, by the way, there's this new movie and I think you should check it out. Here's the trailer. That's what it's building to. So how can we do that as artists? How can we do that as creatives? That's what we want to start thinking about. And the trick is, we may not be able to do it at the scale that Hollywood does it. We may not have their budget, we may not have their resources, we may not have their personnel. What we can do, set a date into the future, obviously. You want to put it at least 30 days, but preferably 60, 90. This new thing, my book, my release, my tour, whatever it might be, is coming on this day. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. There's something coming on October 31st, 2022. And then you want to think long and hard about what is the teaser campaign going to be? What is the customer journey going to be? How are you going to prepare them for your new release? How are you going to prepare them for your poetry or your music or your book or your visual art collection? What steps are you going to take to ensure that they're prepared, their objectives are answered, they're excited such that when the product comes out, they're excited out of their mind, go and purchase it right away. And think about what pieces of content specifically do we want people to engage in getting to that point. And the most obvious and the easiest thing to do has already been figured out for you. And that's Gary Vaynerchuk's method, Gary V's method of documenting your journey, right? Today's stream is titled Documenting Your Journey. What am I doing right now? I'm documenting my journey of a launch that I'm doing right now.